This is AndyTube. In this video I'm going to show you how to remove the needle bar from the Singer Model 513. You can see I already took out the pressure bar and mechanism and lift lever. I want to take out the needle bar. Some people like to take out the needle bar first to get all the parts of the pressure bar out, and that's fine. It's your preference. To get started, what you need to do is take off the needle holder or needle clamp, and it has a little screw that holds that on, and a little pigtail needle bar thread guide, the little wire. In many models there is also a little cup washer that goes over the head of this screw when you put it on, and this 513 did not have that, and I really don't know if it was lost or it just didn't have one from the factory. But you need to remove those because we're going to be pulling the needle bar out of the swing mechanism. But there's one more thing that you have to be very careful of. In the bottom of the needle bar, where the needle itself inserts to, there is a very small losable part that is critical, I guess, like almost any part. It's a little half circle of metal with a groove cut in it that the needle actually inserts up into, and it fits inside the opening of the needle bar, and so it's not very big. That's about how wide or tall it is, but it's very easy to pull the needle bar out and have that drop and get brushed away if you don't know it's there. And I think the part is called a PIB. P-I-B. I'm pretty sure of that, but please don't lose that part, because without that you can't really tighten the needle properly up in there to hold. And it is metal, some kind of metal, because it sticks into my little magnetized parts dish here. Okay, with that said, usually the main sticking point for removing the needle bar is at this clamp right here. There's one set screw and a clamp that hold that, because the bar itself, if it's moving at all, it goes through the bushings. So that's usually not a problem. This is usually where it's going to stick. And ways that I get that off is removing the set screw and putting some penetrating type of oil in and around on there, and see if that will break it free. If it doesn't, you can tap on it gently, maybe the plastic handle of your screwdriver, if it's really stuck in there good. Sometimes there's rust in there. That's a likely place for rust. So don't force it. A lot of times I've taken the set screw out and put penetrating on around there and heated it up with the hair dryer, low air, high temperature, like for 5 minutes, and then put a pair of gloves on and tried to move it. Sometimes it'll be easier to move by pulling it down a ½ inch or so when you break it free. But one thing that I almost always do, unless it's a really super machine is I take one of these cloth covered makeup removing pads, cotton pads, and I'll put crud cutter degreaser, or in this case just 91% alcohol, and I will clean the exposed part to try and get any built up oil, because if the machine hasn't been used for a while, that oil can really harden and varnish, and the tolerances are very close with these bushings, you know, because you can't have your needle bar wiggling around. So if you have crud built up on the needle bar, it can kind of jam in there, and you'll be tempted to force the needle bar. And you really don't want to use pliers to try and break it free, because you can bend the needle bar. So we'll take out the set screw, and you'll know pretty quickly if you can just come up here and push the needle bar down a little bit to see if you got movement here at the clamp, or go down below and push up to see if you get movement, and it works for you, then you should just be able, the goal is to pull it right out the top of the machine. So we get it, there we go. So can you see that? And I just put my thumb on the clamp area and kind of squeezed it, and it's coming up here. Looks pretty nasty where it's been under the clamps, and twisting, turning. There we go. So this area right to here is where that pib sits in there, and hey, it's a dangerous part. It's like a half circle, and the cutout is halfway in, so you see the needle bar is rounded and the pib will be rounded, so that's how yep, told you these parts like to jump. So the pib will fit in there with the rounded part out to complete the round shape. And then of course your needle clamp or needle holder would slide over the whole affair, you know, and that's what will, that's what will, I guess I should put it on the right way, that's what will hold that pib in place then when you put that back on and put the screw in. So when you're taking off that needle clamp, needle holder, right away get that pib out of there. And if you have to pick it out with a toothbrush or a wood toothpick or something, it might seem stuck from oil and stuff, but if you don't get a hold of it right away and put it in a safe place, odds are you will lose it. So there is my needle bar, and you can see some varnishing. This actually looks like that actually looks like a little bit of rust in a couple places, so I'll use my must for rust to remove that and clean it up and polish it. but that's how you take the needle bar out, and then this clamp will come out of the thread take-up system. And it's a little different than the one I was showing you on the 338 that articulates. This one is actually two pieces, with one piece set inside the other piece, and there's a set pin that holds the two, but where the 338 kind of articulated here in the middle, this doesn't. So that was a change over the years, but you want to go ahead and take that out. I consider that to be part of the needle bar system and not the thread take up lever system, which I'll be doing my next video on. I've shown removing needle bars before in a few of my videos, so I didn't actually think about doing it here, but when I went to take off the needle clamp and saw that there is a pib, which I've seen on 600 series models, the touch and sews, but as soon as I saw that, I said, oh man. So I don't think I've done a video before about removing the needle bar that had a pib in the needle bar, so that's why I wanted to do this one. Watch out for the pib. Okay, thanks for your time, and tune it into AndyTube. I hope you'll come back and see me. Take care.